Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Giselle. So the topic of this video is gonna be on addictions, and it's gonna kind of go on the basis of my last video, kind of what people don't talk about, lust. So if you guys haven't watched that, I would recommend y'all to watch it. So about addiction, I'm just gonna kind of be talking general, and of course y'all know that I got delivered from lust. I think it was about like 4 years I was kind of in that addiction. And I guess the beginning, or like, the start was it sneaks up on you. It sneaks up on you. It's subtle, because I feel like the reason why I love Winning to Talk is it kind of goes into the start, the beginning, and Ezekiel. And it talks about the start first, and they're like, they take you to the start to kind of get to know their story, understand, because this didn't happen out of nowhere. It happened progressively, happened slowly. And yeah, and I was listening. I'm gonna just talk about it a little bit. I was listening to this pastor, and it was online. Hopefully I can remember, because I don't want to say it incorrectly. I don't remember. So yeah, I was this pastor. He was talking about patterns. There's patterns to the devil, there's patterns to God, the patterns to Jesus, and how we're supposed to live our life. Because if we're not following Jesus' example and how he lived his life here, then we're gonna follow. There's only two people like to follow. I don't there's like there's God, and then there's God, the little G God, and there's Satan, and then there's God, right, to follow. So either there's two options, there's no middle ground, there's no fence. He owns the fence, the devil owns the fence. And I think at one point in time, when I was in 7th grade, and I was like, that was the peak of my addiction. And I was like, I feel like I backslid, and I wasn't really following God. A lot of my life, I think I've been lukewarm. I think I've been lukewarm. Just one foot in the world, one foot with Jesus, and yeah. And so, yes, addiction just kind of happens subtly. And understanding that there are patterns to following the enemy, there's patterns to following God, and there's only two options. And because for the longest time, I think I deceived myself, thinking that I could have God and I could have the world, and I could be a friend to the world, and I could be a friend to the world, and I could still be with God. And that's just not truth. I remember reading that Bible verse, and it convicted me at the time, where it talks about there's one specific Bible verse where it talks about had it on my mind, and then there was another one about, if you're a friend to the world, you're an enemy to God. And then there's another one that you can't serve two masters. You either hate one and love the other one. I remember reading that one, and I don't know the other one. Kind of forgot about it. So yeah, I just feel like I deceived myself for the longest time, thinking, oh yeah, Paul, he said something about it was a Bible verse about that one, and it convicted me at the time, where it talks about if I were still trying to please man, I wouldn't follow God. Or so it goes something like that. And I remember that convicted me so much, because I remember at one point I was a people pleaser. At one point I was a peacemaker, but to the extent of my own peace, and I think that is where it becomes a problem, where you sacrifice yourself, where you shrink yourself down, where you think, if I just play easy, or if I just play small, or I just shrink myself, then people will like me, then I can get along with people, right? And I feel like I never really fit in with friend groups. I had friends, and sometimes it was kind of a little bit long term, and other times it wasn't. And I don't know, I just feel like I never really fit in. So I feel like that was my way of trying to fit in with people. That was my way of trying to be like the world. That was my way of trying to be with the world. And and I was young at this time. I think throughout all this, I don't know, throughout. And I think the reason maybe why I got pushed into trauma, for FYI, or if you kind of want to know, or you kind of want to know how the enemy uses shouldn't doors. Well, for me, I think it was trauma because of witnessing DV and like my parents and being raised in a really dysfunctional family. I think that's really one way he kind of gained access, and it kind of used my pain, used my trauma against me. And it was happening at a young age, and I remember I was 5. Like I remember I was really young, and kind of gaining some what is it called, gaining consciousness, and realizing like this is my life, and not being able to tell anyone in person, face to face. And I think I did talk about this briefly in my last video, but just never feeling like trusting people, or like to handle this information, because there's a lot. Like, what do you tell someone like that, And the real reason why I'm like not okay, I'm going through all this, like, what do I tell someone, and about this, like, and I don't know. And I feel like it never was for me, like, if people are gonna believe me. It just was like, how are people gonna react to that? Are people gonna look at me different and judge me, and not wanting to put myself out there? And yeah, and also another thing was like fear of rejection, because a lot of my life I had a lot of friends. I remember this being in 5th grade. I had friends, and they weren't really friends at the time. And again, I wasn't being taught anything really with my family. My mother suffering with her own issues and not wanting to live with my dad, and her crashing out, her having moments of her having her moments of just going off. I don't know. She wasn't okay. She wasn't mentally there, and we're having those moments. And then my dad, kind of, one moment he's cool, and then another moment he's like scolding us, or like emotionally abusing us, and just telling us all these things. And I think, I mean, like, to me, it makes a lot of sense, I guess, why I kind of leaned on my dad for a little bit, or I had to kind of trust in my head. There was just like no other option, because it wasn't my mom, and she doesn't really drive us at the time we were going to school. So like, whether or not if I liked it or not, reflecting back, I kind of had to be around my dad a lot, and whether I liked it or not, because there was times where I was like, I didn't want to be in the same car with him, because he's gonna snap at me, start yelling. And again, if we don't do something he doesn't like, or in the correct order, he's gonna get mad at us. Whether it could just be the simplest thing, and he would get mad. And also the way they would teach us, because like there's certain stuff we don't know, and we're kids, like we don't know certain stuff, and like whether it's just a simple task like getting water, or like there's certain just stuff that my parents should have taught us. Or if you pour water and it spills, like my dad would get really mad at us. So I feel like mistakes weren't allowed, and I think that was also what kind of sometimes kind of really. And when I got older, it just was really scary sometimes to even try anything, new, to even put myself out there, because I was so scared of making mistakes, because I got taught like we couldn't make mistakes. We almost had to be perfect. We almost had to be like robots. We almost had to be like puppets, and just follow whatever my dad says, because if not, he's gonna get mad at us. So yeah, but going back, I'm gonna try pulling this all together. Going back to addiction, it happens slowly, and at first, like, it feels good and it gratifies your flesh, and you don't really think too much of it. You think I was, like, I didn't really have a lot of like, I had unrestricted access to it, or I didn't really, like, there was no parental control or anything. I don't think my dad, I didn't care for that. I tested it, and we didn't have and that was more when I kind of was like a teen or preteen, and that was kind of when I kind of discovered we didn't have unrestricted access to the internet. And then I got a phone when I was really young, maybe like when I was 7, if I remember correctly. When I was 7, and most of the time I would just take it like for like Snapchat, and just use Snapchat. And otherwise I would just watch the TV at the time. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like I have something towards my dad sometimes, like, you know, I forgive him of course, but sometimes like reflecting back on this, or like being an adult, being 18 years old, barely, but reflecting back on it just makes me realize like how much stuff went wrong and how much stuff I overlooked. Because I don't know, I mean, I still had like the child's innocent at one point of time, and I was just thinking like, oh, this is my dad's my hero, like just seeing him in like the best of light despite him doing all these horrible things, despite the TV, despite the screaming. And I don't remember, it's kind of crazy, but I don't really remember any times the cops being called. I don't think none of us called the cops. I don't really remember them being called in the RGB, because that's where I live. I don't remember them being called. I don't think I really remember anyone calling the cops on us for a disturbance or the cops coming. So, but I remember a lot of times that we got into fights and it would just escalate. So yeah, and I don't know, that is yeah, that's something I do remember. A lot of times it would escalate my mom, and they would just go at it. And yeah, and it's kind of crazy because I'll look back and I was like, was there anyone to help us? And you know, there's some people trying to convince my mom again. I kind of talked about it a little bit, but I'm gonna kind of go over it. Trying to convince my mom to leave him, she not wanting to. People trying to convince her to go to their place, you know, to sort it out, or even try talking to my dad and him just not. And sometimes I do feel like I have more towards things to my dad because he should be mentally okay and, you know, all this stuff, but not realizing back then that he probably liked her suffering, he probably liked her losing her mind, and because he's a narcissist, as a Leviathan spirit. And I'm learning a lot of things because of Jess. I love you. Craft to crack, she really helps me a lot, and knowing a lot of stuff, because sometimes I feel like, I don't know if I can be naive. I think that is something I used to really just be naive and just had the best view of the world, and just had such an innocence, and just thinking the world is such a happy place, and just like little bubble, and just like beaming with like light, and just wanting to share it with people. But over time I feel like it got dimmed, and a lot of things I went through. And yeah, and it's kind of crazy that people will say, like, they will sit up here and say, certain people will sit up here and say, we need more people like you, or we need more people to help. But when they encounter them, the cops are called. I've seen cops are called. Sometimes I've seen videos where they feed the homeless and then the cops are called. So I don't know, because sometimes I feel like we need to be the change we want to see in the world. But it's kind of crazy that other people just are so quick to tell you you're wrong, who don't want to correct you, who don't want to show you the right way. A lot of people gatekeep a lot of stuff, not only just with products, and they gatekeep it. And there are probably certain people I think are afraid of other people succeeding, or they view them as competition. Just keep that in mind, because I had to learn that the hard way. Because I just thought everyone just wants to help each other, you know, we're like gonna get on the top. But a lot of people will step over people to get to that position. They'll throw them under the bus. They'll do whatever they need to do to get to that position. I don't know that at the time. Even adults, I feel like some adults in my life, because I can't speak for everyone, but in my life, they would speak to me kind of crazy, and it's just like that. You're literally talking to a child. Like, I understand maybe, like, there's just so many times where, and I understand, like, sometimes I was, like, a disruptive child, or I didn't really care about schools. I would just talk, even when the teacher was teaching, so, and I understand that might be rude, but certain teachers would literally scream at me at the time. They would scream at me, and it was just kind of crazy, but they would scream at me. But I don't know, there was just some adults in my life, some teachers, I'm just like, that's crazy, they talk to me that way. But I understand, like, I was probably getting on their nerves, but I don't know. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy that sometimes, like, adults really won't support kids in that way that they need to be supported, and kind of be like trying to help them. Some of them, like, will talk down to some kids or be like, oh, you're never gonna succeed. And I think I mean, I think certain people have that experience where teachers have told them some crazy stuff, and it's just like what they can't be, and it's just like, but I don't know. Yeah, a lot of things I kind of reflect on my life, and yeah, but I kind of more try holding my dad accountable, but I don't think he really wants to be held accountable. And a lot of times, like, I've given opportunities to talk to him so many times, and I mean, yeah, I feel like I keep having to like say that he's a narcissist, because I don't know, I feel like every time I just try talking to him, every time I've tried to get him to change his ways, or just wanted him to support him, like, what do you need from me to help you? He's never changed his ways, and yeah, but it went on for decades, like that abuse from my mom, and then just, yeah, sometimes it would get better, sometimes he would have some money to spend on us, but a lot of times, like, I just feel like he wasn't a good steward. Like, he would get some money, he would just spend it, or like take a lot of people out, and he would just spend it really fast. So yeah, I don't know. And we would eat out a lot because my mom couldn't cook or didn't want to learn. I don't know. Once upon a time, when my great great grandpa, something like that, was alive, she would cook for him because she was the provider for him. Yeah, he had a house we used to go. I don't really have, like, that's where I'm like, I don't really have memories, because I have some photos of that, and I'm like, I don't even remember. I don't know if that's normal or not, because at the time I don't know what age I was, but yeah, because I know some people talk about it, and I'm like, I don't even have memory of that. But yeah, like, they used to throw a lot of parties, or so I'm told, because there's photos proof, but yeah, I don't really remember that, and I don't know if that's normal or not. So yeah, for, I guess, that time being, it was kind of normal. I do remember, though, I remember a story. I remember he used to like buy us stuff, our like great grandpa or something like that. And no, yeah, because I think great grandpa, I think it's him, because my dad was adopted, because his mom died, and his dad didn't take care of him. He was an alcoholic, and I'm assuming that he also beat on his wife, domestic violence. Yeah, I'm assuming, because I'm just like, where did this get started? Like, I'm assuming, and yeah, I'm not sure. I'm assuming, and yeah. So he'll probably also cheated. Like, there was a paper record of like his adoption, and it also said like he was with other women, or he would just leave the house for a long period of time, and they didn't know if he was ever going to come back. And other people, my dad at the time, because he lived in Mexico, Reynosa, and he it said in that report that they didn't know when he was going to come back, and other people probably took turns taking care of him, because there were some people in Mexico, like, that's probably where most of my dad's family is, or making acquaintances, I don't know. So yeah, people probably took turns taking care of him. I think one person was around a lot to take care of my dad, and was kind of like a mother to him. He does say that, so I'm not saying that. Like a mother to him. So yeah, that's the same pattern that his dad had. My dad, his dad, the great grandfather had. My dad has still to this day, and I guess it pained me. It really pained me that he didn't want to change for us. That as much as chances we gave him, he never really wanted to change for us. As much as like we tried and talked to him, and I told my sister about how the mistress, again, because I met her when I was 12 years old at a McDonald's, and I remember a lot of stuff we used to celebrate. I remember celebrating my birthday at McDonald's, and I remember feeling like you're so rich. Excuse me, guys. I remember feeling so rich because we got a lot of McChickens and fries, and I don't know if it was McChicken, no, something, the fish fillet or something. I don't know if it's called something, I don't know. And the fillets, and they were my favorite. I like them in chickens. And I remember just being so rich. I feel like that's the happiest thing in my life. And I don't know how many weeks, I don't know how many days until like I met the mistress, or how far apart that was, because again. And yeah, and I met her, and I went to her house a lot, because I would fake being sick, and I would really I hated school so bad, and I don't really know why. I mean, I think for one, I wasn't taught at home, so I would just have to rely on the teachers, and sometimes we would be absent, and my dad, he didn't really care. Like, he would take his time sometimes to drop us off. In our school had that program where we dropped off, and my dad never really wanted me to go to a public school, so it was a charter school. So that kind of explains it. So he never really wanted to put us in a public school, and there was other things he never really wanted to do. Because when we asked him, he was just like, "Well, I just want to go what I want to. I didn't want to give you a middle name, and and stuff like that." So yeah. And I mean, it really pained me that he never really wanted to change. He never changed his actions, never felt like he once got better, like he once really pulled his life together. Because, I mean, at that young age, like, it really blew my mind. Like, my dad is not who I thought he was, or at least in that aspect, because I did see him different, but I didn't see him, like, fully different and be like, whoa, what a monster he is. It was, like, later in life, and I just didn't want to give up on him. Like, I don't know why that felt like betraying him. That felt wrong to give up on him. That felt wrong. Like, I wanted to make it work. Like, he is my dad, right? And like, I wanted to try to make it work. And I wanted to try to make it work. But it really pained me that never once that he pulled his life together. He got his stuff together, and he's like, what am I doing? Like, I need to do this for my kids. Like, I feel like it was always about him and being selfish and appearing in the outside that we're all fine, and we're not. And there were certain people in my life that knew that the abuse that was happening. I don't think the cops were ever called, because I just keep remembering that, because I'm like, were the cops ever called? Like, I don't really think the cops were ever called. If anything, maybe once. I don't even think it was for that reason, though. I think it was for another reason, because my dad was like that's on his record. I think you can check and verify with that. Also, his record with, he was falsely accused. But yeah, that's the only time, because I don't think the cops were ever called. And in Hispanic culture, I feel like that's really normalized. And I don't know if he was ever thrown in jail, like, hypothetically, if they would have bailed him out. And I think they would have, my siblings, because two of them are narcissists. Out of 4, because I'm one of 4. Out of so it's me, my older brother, my older sister, my older brother, and me, and 2 of them are narcissists. Yeah, and the other one, I don't know if it's covert, or basically he doesn't really appear to be one, but he kind of is more hidden in his ways. That's the one I thought I could kind of trust, and then he proved his allegiance to the others. So yeah, it just not really pained me to see that my dad never really. I started realizing that he didn't really care for us, or he would choose women over us. And find out that he says at work he's not, and my mom is just being paranoid and be like, is he with this woman? He's with this woman. She probably gets wrong, probably most of the time, but he wasn't really, like, I really said that he was really only around for like special occasion, or like graduations, birthdays, all this stuff, like holidays. But other than that, like, maybe I'll see it, maybe I wouldn't. Maybe he'll come home late, and I would always like try to wait for him. Sorry, I'm like fighting back tears. I would always try to wait for him to come home at night, because I really just wanted him for him to say goodnight to me, and just always want to wait up, because he would be like, you're still awake, like, you need to go to sleep. And I'll always try to wait up for him, not wanting to fall asleep. yeah, I mean, there's multiple times where, like, quote unquote interventions, because I won't call them interventions, but certain times we had conversations with him, like my brother, my sister, which, again, two of them are narcissists, and my older brother. I feel like the middle one, which isn't a narcissist, the middle one, I say it because it's, this word was like the middle, the third one, which is not a narcissist. The third one, I feel like he was always ignored, or like he was kind of like the scapegoat. I don't know. Basically, I guess what I'm trying to say, because I won't put all his business out there. It's just like I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like they never really paid him attention. And again, I kind of talked about my family always like sweep things under the rugs and make it seem like, oh no, he's fine. Like he can figure it out. He can tough it out. I feel like my dad was kind of like, well, to his sons, like they can tough it out. They're men, you know. They can tough it out. And like machisto, like I don't know if I'm saying that right. Like machisto, something like that, where they like a toxic masculinity, and there's such a thing as toxic femininity too. I just want to clarify, but yeah, so yeah, and he was you know, like really toxic masculine. He would always kind of just want to like just, well, he'll figure it out, like he'll tough it out. He's a man, right? Like just man up, right? It would be kind of like that. And to us, I feel like we kind of got a little bit better deal as women. Like he didn't always expect us to, but I do feel like my dad did coddle me, or I was kind of like my dad's princess. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like I always just always, I guess, overextended in the fact of like my emotions, always like made it seem like the world's gonna end if I cry and just coddle me. And yeah, because like in the surface, where like if I got in trouble sometimes, like if he went to the school, he'd be like, no, I agree with you and whatever, and then he would leave like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about, like undermining them, and just be like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. And again, when I gained weight when I was like really young and I was 120, and like he just dismissed it, like very dismissive, like just, oh, they don't know what they're talking about, you know, just very, you know, downplaying it. And I feel like my dad always does that. He downplays the situation even when it's severe, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if he tries to convince himself in his brain, or he knows something's wrong, but he just doesn't care. Like I don't know, because there's been many times where it is really it's a bad situation. Like I don't know how else to I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, and not trying to not trying to sugarcoat it, but I don't know, I feel like he beat around the bush, swept things in the rug, or just try to downplay it. Like I feel like he always downplays something, like if it's something super whatever, excuse me, whatever. So yeah. So yeah, my dad always tries doing that. That's one thing I count on, because like the time I was in the hospital, and I usually have a high pain tolerance, because I don't know, over the years learned, or like the fact that sometimes my dad would refuse, like, oh, I need to go to the doctor's visit, I need to get a weekly appointment checkup. I don't think I would ever tell him that, like, I need to go get an annual doctor's visit or something like that. I don't think I'll tell them. Or yearly checkup. I don't think I'll check that. I don't think he believes in that. And yeah, I don't even know what he believes in. If he actually believes in doctors or not, because sometimes he goes to them, but I feel like he tries the natural stuff, and some of them are scams, some of them are gimmicks. That's the word I was looking for. Some of them are just gimmicks. Like you gotta verify, you gotta do your research, or at least try to do a little bit, because some people just scamming. They're talking about some creatine gummies. What are they gonna do? Just get creatine? Like, you know, there's some stuff like just stop beating around the bush, like just get that. There's some stuff that's a little bit like more smart, but I mean, if you want it, if you don't, you know, like protein shakes are not like, I don't know, it depends on your goals. But anyways, going back to that, I feel like he fell into that trap of like a lot of natural supplements and stuff. Most of them are gimmicks. Spends his money on that. I don't know, I feel like he's very easily persuaded on the internet. Like I think someone could tell him there's a magic bean, magic flower. It's gonna make your farts smell wonderful, all these things, and he would probably believe it. So yeah, so there's not really like good advice he gives, because I remember I got in trouble once and him telling me that I'm older, I know things better, and he's I think 50. I don't know, I think like 52, 53. So yeah, anyways, yeah, so that's my dad for you. There's a lot of things to him, like there's him being dismissive, there's him being angry, and him feeling like he just gets possessed. Him being angry, him being dismissive, him downplaying things, him trying like faking being happy and like charisma. Him using his charisma and like charm and making people laugh and kind of being like a clown and making people laugh and just using that. And sometimes using us like as kids and like, oh, they like bragging on our accomplishments, or sometimes even, I don't know if that's like competing, because I don't know if he would do that if that's competing or not. Sometimes they'd be gaslighting me, but competing like with my siblings, the fact that they got certain accomplishment, they're like, well, why can't you do that? Or like, look at them, like why, I don't know, he would compare us a lot academically, because they're my older brother and sister, they're really close in age, and they would get really good grades. And I think also because my dad was more tough on them to get good grades and all that, like it wasn't an option. They weren't given an option. So yeah, they got good grades, they graduated high school. I think both of them graduated college technically, because like my sister, I don't know, she's still kind of, I don't know, figuring that out, but she did graduate. Did graduate college. It took her a little bit more time than my brother, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. So but yeah, I mean, I don't know, she wanted to be a nurse, but she didn't end up being a nurse. I don't know if she's still gonna be on that path or not. It's weird. Also, oh, I didn't even mention this, because one thing about it was when I was younger, like really young, I don't know, age 5, 7, I don't know, 4, no, I actually don't know. But when I was younger, I told them I wanted to be a teacher, and that's what I told them. I told them I wanted to be a grasshopper. I told them I wanted to be a teacher. I told them I wanted to be a teacher. Yeah, hear the train. I wanted to be a teacher. And then my sister is kind of like she's a special ed teacher. And then my brother is a teacher too. I think he's a CTE teacher. Something about computer science or something like that. I'm exposing them. So yeah, and it's kind of weird that they became a teacher, and I don't know if anyone has experienced something like that with like a narcissist, where they kind of copy you, or like certain stuff you want to do, they do it. And I think I did kind of hold a grudge, and I'm letting it go, or I'm letting it go, or I let it go, because it's not really worth it to be fighting and just be crying. I don't know, it's just not worth it to be fighting and just, I don't know, because it's weird how my sister wanted to be a nurse, and then my brother was like, I wanted to be an engineer because he was computer science and college, and I thought maybe he's gonna move away, or he's gonna be something here and stuff like that. And then, I mean, supposedly he said he couldn't really find a job, so that's why he became a teacher. But I'm just like, we could have, there's other options, there's other routes he could have taken, but that's what he wanted to do. And it's kind of crazy they all suddenly wanted to be a teacher. And I think it's crazy because I remember someone asking me like what I want to do. Also, I wanted to be a teacher when I was really young, like really really young. My dad had recordings, I don't know if he deleted them. And then I wanted to like be an interior designer, but I'm not really good at math, and I do think that requires math. So yeah, because I like decorating, I can kind of see myself doing something. But yeah, I like decorating, and stuff like that. And yeah, that's just kind of crazy, that they both became a teacher, like, you know, yeah, because I told them, and I was leaning towards like when in high school they were telling me like, what do you want to be like, career wise. I was leaning more towards being a teacher, just because I was like, well, I think that might be a little bit of an easier route. But I don't know now. But it's just kind of crazy. Like, it's ironic. Like, y'all, I don't think it's a coincidence that they're both a teacher now. And I was just like, I was really, really young. I wanted to be a teacher. And I don't know why. Because, again, it was when I was young, not when I was, like, suffering in school. And being like, oh, I just don't like school. So I don't know. I don't know. I just had a passion to want to teach people, which I might be doing. And, like, I don't know. I'm sharing my insights, sharing my wisdom on things that I've had to overcome, conquer, and things that were I had to learn the hard way. And I thank God, because sometimes, like, um it's I don't know, it's easy to kind of get my head um really just not sure. I don't know, it's easy to want all the good and not want the bad, kind of like Job says, like you're gonna accept the good but you won't accept the bad. So I'm really grateful for the bad, and also because it taught me a lot of stuff, and I also could share, and I could also empathize with people. I think that's why I have so much empathy. I think as a kid, I do feel like I did have empathy for people, because there's certain kids, I don't know if they're taught that, but I can empathize more with people, and I can share my struggle. And sometimes I do have certain things I'm still struggling with or still kind of battling with. And yeah, God's been taking me through that process. But yeah, I don't know, I felt like I wanted to teach people at a young age and just wanted to share my knowledge. Like, I thought people were I didn't think people were gatekeeping and trying to they would do, some people like they would act crazy for some money. Not all money is good money, and I say that in a sense, like, there's some people who would do some crazy stuff for some money, and I'm just like, you do it now. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I had also struggled with that season of my life where I just kind of was like thinking like, and if people ain't gonna be loyal, basically just saying like turning into money, because I was like, well, if people ain't gonna be loyal, if I can't get this, might as well just get the bag, just might as well get the bread, because people just keep just trying to just live my best life without people, because certain people are just, they betrayed me, done me wrong, or even certain people I met. Just, I don't know. But also, I had my own issues too. I struggled with people pleasing. I struggled with avoidant attachment and just trying to avoid things, ignoring things, because I was never really taught how to face things like head on and actually just face things. And because my family would just sweep things under the rug. And again, tell me it's okay and just dismiss it, and thinking like, well, certain things are normal and okay, and it's not. So I struggle with that. Is there anything else? Avoidance, attachment, people pleasing. There's some stuff I was ignorant towards, or I just didn't really want to learn. Some stuff I definitely chose not to, like, learn, or things I could have done better, and I chose not to. Oh, what the heck. So yeah. Um. So yeah, I don't know. But I'm grateful for the lessons, because they taught me a lot. They taught me a lot, and they taught me a lot about people and people's nature, and how certain people operate. Um, the class clown. Just certain things that people need or want from people, where they trying to be seen, trying to make them laugh, because um they don't ever want to be seen. Class clowns, they don't want to be seen, or most of them, or so I'm told. So I researched a little bit about that, or like a video. That they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be seen. But yeah, fear of rejection. There's stuff like fear of rejection, which for me, I just got a lot of rejection, betrayed. Um, yeah, and other people like either get passed down things, or they just, it's something learned, environmental, something that happened in their environment, something that were taught by their parents. Because again, most kids are like a blank canvas, and then that's what they're taught, and that's what they programmed, like a computer. They're like wired to do certain stuff, to do habits, and if they get like an addiction or susceptible to these things, is because they probably weren't taught the right way. And sometimes it is the absence of a father, it's absence of a mother, or just never being correct and never told this is the right way. sometimes I'm grateful for certain stuff because I didn't like, I don't know, some stuff I'm grateful for that I didn't go deeper into certain things I really wanted to. Oops, my bad. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, certain things I was taught, certain things that was like programs or like patterns followed, which I recommend you guys looking up because again, I don't know the pastor's name. I kind of forgot, or I don't know if I'm gonna butcher his name. But pastor, just type pastor patterns or something like that. I forget because there's another um church I watch online. It's called Echo Church, but I forgot the other one where it's called. It's a preacher. He goes on preaching in the streets. Oh, what is it called? I forgot his name. Not my because I know he came out a lot of things. He came out of witchcraft, lust, fornication, stuff, a lot of stuff. But yeah, he goes preaching. I forgot his name. My bad. So yeah, just go because I really do think it's gonna bless you. I'm talking about patterns. So yeah, but yeah, I just used to have a way of thinking and the world and kind of being lukewarm and trying to figure out because again the Western church promotes a lot of things. They promote that Jesus is just okay with you sinning and you don't have to change, you don't have to transform, you don't have to go to the sanctification process because with Jesus it says come to him as you are, so you don't have to be clean, like you can go to him. And also I love the Bible verse that talks about like people um who are sick, they don't need a doctor. People are healthy, you don't need a doctor. It's people who are sick, and I love that because it's people who are sick need a doctor. And yeah, and I think I felt for that trap too. Is like I need to clean myself up. So like, I don't know, cause God can love me, or like thinking that God doesn't love me right now. God loves the sinner, and God doesn't love the sin, right? And I just thought like I fell into that trap, thinking like I have to figure this. Ooh, I have to figure this out all on my own. I have to figure this all on my own, and a lot of people made me feel like that. Just kind of like felt like sometimes I was just tossed into the water, and I had to learn how to swim. I had to learn how to do a lot of things on my own. Literally, it just kind of felt like it was just me, just alone in this world. And I felt alone, and sometimes I also fell into a trap like no one else is going through this. Like it's just me, which is a lie from the enemy. Or based on name Jesus. And but yeah, just kind of fell in that trap. And I also kind of felt at one point in time, and sometimes I struggle with that feeling, not gonna lie, was just feeling useless or just worthless, or like my story doesn't matter, like certain stuff, like just not really feeling like I'm gonna be seen. Because certain people just didn't make me seen. Certain people didn't make me feel like I was special or anything like it was about me. Just that there was certain stuff that people could change for them or they could hang around them, but they can't come around me. And I learned why I told myself this because I don't think I've ever heard this from someone. Maybe I did, but just about like a Ferrari or a Bugatti, just because no one's buying them, just because no one is going to them first as a first aid, doesn't mean that that car's not valuable. It just means that that car is expensive, that people can't purchase it. So remember that. Just because I feel like I know that word is tossed around like high value, but I feel like when you're truly rare and truly set apart and chosen, people aren't going to go to you because they can't sit around you. And there's just certain things, even when I was like probably at my worst state, I wouldn't do. I just felt like that I just had it in me, like no. Like I remember there's times, and I will say this because I don't just speak out of, I'm just speaking, like I had certain experiences in my life that shaped me and molded me into the person who I am. And storms are gonna make you stronger, and that you're gonna come out the other side stronger, and with having knowing more wisdom, knowing more stuff. So yeah, when I used to, because I remember being with my friends in 8th grade, and I got invited to a party. And we got invited to a party, and it was a roller skate party. And I remember going there, or we just hung out. I don't remember if someone's birthday was not or not. And I remember roller skating, right? And we went to the bathroom. I was really bad at roller skating, by the way. I went to the bathroom, and then this girl offered me a vape, and I was really shocked. I was like, what? Like, because I thought, like, we're just girls, we're gonna be in the bathroom taking photos, just having fun, whatever. And she offered me a vape. I said no. there's multiple times where, also with that, like vaping, at 8th grade, I remember the vapes blew up, around that time, and yeah, she offered me a vape, and I said no. So there's some stuff that I would stand on business on. Like there's some stuff I would do, and there's things I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Honestly, even when there was no one there, even when there was no like my dad, I would just be like, no, like I don't roll like that. I don't. That's not me. And other things I struggle with, and just because of sin, or like, cause I know the common sins, like people kind of know, it's like really extremes, like murder, like lust, like sexual immorality, fornicating, pride, greed, gluttony, like all these sins, the 7 deadly sins. I don't know if I missed them. Selfishness, like all these sins, like selfish gain, like all these things, right? Gossiping, slander, all these things, like the 7 sins. You probably can look them up. I don't know if I missed them, but there was just some stuff I stood on business on. Like I didn't play about that. Like maybe I would do something else, but not that. There's just things I just didn't want to do, and I think part of it, knowing that it's not gonna fulfill my soul, it's gonna leave me depleted, and other stuff, it wasn't my struggle, like, or like from generational or stuff, like alcohol. Like that's one thing my dad did. I guess he didn't drink alcohol, and I don't know, I don't think it was ever offered. And yeah, like I mean, I don't know, there's some stuff that wasn't like my sin, or like it was a temptation for me, so I can also say that. But even there's other stuff where I feel like people kind of tempted me, or like, you know and some stuff I kind of did fall into, and other things I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And there's just things that I knew God was real, and there's okay, this is a weird shift. I just remembered, we're gonna talk about this, about like suicide, and just the reason why I feel like I never really went through it. First of all, I think I was a coward. Second of all, I was scared to go to hell. I was scared to face God. I was scared. Because I knew at the time, like at that time, I was I was in 10th grade, 15, 16 years old, and I didn't want to face God. I didn't want for him to be like out and go to hell. And him telling me all these stuff, like I just didn't want, I didn't want to go to hell. I didn't want to face him. I just didn't want to face him. Like the next thing I'm gonna see is his face, and I don't want to face that. I don't want to, I don't know what he was gonna tell me. Like just to make him sad or angry, like I had so much for you, and so yeah, I didn't want to make him sad. So yeah, that's really the only thing I felt like that stopped me. I did think about like my family, like, oh shoot, like they're gonna be sad, they're gonna have to stand in my grave and my funeral, but now it's just old me. Now it's gone. I thank the Lord, His grace. But yeah, and just being tormented and just thinking like it's never gonna go better, and that was a lie of the enemy. Just like, it's not gonna get better, I'm gonna be here. And I was kind of stuck for a while. Like I was stuck for like a year or two. Like I don't even remember. But I felt like time had slowed. It just felt like time was going by so slow at that point. And just everything was just amplified. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just struggling. Right now I think I'm trying to overcome being a control freak, because a lot of my life was just felt uncontrollable. So I think that's why. And I don't know another reason why I kind of became a control freak. So yeah. So there's also probably another reason. But when I was in 8th grade, I was kind of wily, and and at the time too, because I didn't talk about this. I forgot about this. Not that I kind of forgot. Like sometimes. Okay, sorry about that. So where was I? Loki, don't even remember where I was. But the last thing I remember was saying something about my struggles. I don't know. I don't know. I just have to move on. I kind of I don't know. I don't know. Some stuff I just stood on business on. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't want to face him. Yeah. I mean, yeah. At the time, I just didn't want to disappoint him. I didn't want to disappoint him because because I knew who I was gonna see. I knew who was real, and I think that was the like pulling factor of not wanting to actually do it, like actually, you know. So yeah, when I was suicidal, because I was rough. I was like numb. I was not caring about anything. There's just certain things that just went out the window. I didn't care anymore. And I think that was scary because I always kind of had that about me where I cared, or there are certain things that I was like, I'm not gonna allow this, or at least that. But at that point, I just hit rock bottom. But he's a rock. I love that too when I heard about that. And he's a rock. And yeah, and there's times where, oh yeah, I forgot about talked about I don't know if I talked about this, but when you go through rough seasons, and kind of my last video, and like God will break you so he can heal you. I think he can also break you so he can multiply you, and he can bring blessings into your life, like the fish in the basket loaves in Matthew. I also think I think that's in there. I also think that God will allow you to go through certain stuff, or there's certain stuff that was in my free will. There were certain things that like no one forced me. I kind of did that, but I think sometimes He will allow you to go through rough season, or go like to hit rock bottom. So He can teach you that He's the only one that can save you. That He's the only one that can heal you. He's the only one that you can count on this world. Because I know people can fail, and people can disappoint you and everything, but Jesus isn't gonna disappoint you. He's not a man that he should lie. And the Lord is not a man that he should lie. And yeah, yeah, like I also feel like sometimes I was too trusting in man, and I think it was just so naive to believe that they will help me or that they can fix it. And like even if I got help for certain things, like there's only things that Jesus can do and miracles that he can perform. The Lord, just certain things that he can only do. And just having to learn that, and because I think that's the only reason really. And there's just only certain things that he can do, and that piece where you are like craving something you don't know what it is. It's Jesus. That woman in the well, the Samaritan woman in the well, the living water. Jesus, that you will never thirst again. And that's also what the devil and God, because the devil only perverts things. Only the devil can like flip things in a way, pervert things, twist things, swallow their lies, deceive you. If he gets your mind, he kind of takes over everything. And it's the mind and also the heart that if he gets, you're done. Because we were made to worship God. So if you're not worshiping God, or you're an atheist, I heard that on a YouTube reel, or YouTube shorts, that that America has witchcraft, but it's just normalized, and or it might be worse in America, because it's called living your truth, it's called your identity, it's called just love is love, and the Bible says His word hasn't changed, and it says it's an abomination, it's a sin. God still loves you. He don't love that sin. He gonna convict you, and he gonna pull that out of you if you let Him, or you let Him heal you. But He's gonna convict you. And also you're gonna know what's wrong and how good and bad. Like we all have that moral. We should have that moral where it tells the good and bad. And creation is also a sign from God. It's a sign, right? God exists. That there is a creator. There is there is creation, and He's a creator. But it talked about how there's witchcraft in America, and it's just normalized, and people worshiping crystals, but that's what happens when you thinking that humans are like we're self-sufficient, but we're not. We need God, and that's why people turn. Well, okay, let me not get ahead of myself, but that's why people start worshiping a rock, a crystal, witchcraft people, idols, and stuff like that, and much more that I haven't said, because they were made to worship something, and Satan perverts them. Satan used that vulnerability against them, and they might not know. They might just say, well, I'm just living my truth, or I just really like this celebrity, and all this stuff. But you're worshiping man, you're worshiping an idol, you're worshiping what your hands have created, you're worshiping a rock, you're worshiping all these things because you were made to worship. And that kind of blew my mind. I was like, hold up. Yeah, that's why people are drawn to witchcraft, but they just can't sit down. They need to have something in their soul that they're craving, and they don't know that it's God, that peace that they're missing, that they can have everything in the world. That's why it says you could gain the whole world but lose your soul, because you can have everything and still feel empty. And it says you're never gonna have peace. There's no peace for the wicked. And there's certain things that are priceless, you can't put a price tag, and that's from God. That's a gift from God. That's something He gives you. Whether it's speaking in tongue, whether it's having peace, whether it's just resting in Him, trusting in His word, believing in Him, and just being like children, just trusting in Him, which I struggled with that. I struggle with that. And because of I think sometimes I've also heard something about with women, if they had a bad father, they don't really, and I mean, I'm kind of okay, I'm gonna give my opinion that they don't really like God being a man. They don't, or identifying it, because again, I don't even know if I was saying that correctly, but Bible got questions, something like that. Search God's gender, because he identifies. See, that's weird. Okay, just a man. Because he's God, man, father. He calls himself a father. So I don't know how to explain that correctly. If I'm gonna explain it correctly, because I don't know. But he calls himself that, so I don't know how to explain it correctly. If someone can help me, then please do. So they don't really like him being a man. They don't really like him being a father. Or calling himself that. And for me, it wasn't never an issue that he's a man, or he's a man. I hate him, because there's some toxic family, they hate men so much to their guts because they have daddy issues, because a man has done something in their life that's wrong. They just wouldn't act that towards men. If someone has portrayed a father, a brother was something wrong to them, abuse, sexual abuse, something happened to them. Oh shoot, my bad. And something happened to them, but I never felt like that, like, oh, I hate men, I think that was a little bit later, where I just kind of felt like with my father, with my brother, just certain stuff that men are willing to settle. Men are just, they contradict themselves, or they're hypocrites sometimes. They say sometimes they like a natural woman and they don't, and now they're following the OFs, and just are they just following people with just layers and layers of makeup. So men contradict themselves, they're hypocrites. So sometimes I feel like some men are taken serious because some men just contradict themselves. Like, they say they want something and they do the opposite, and it's like, how are you trying to be a leader if you're following after lust, if you're following after all these things, you're following after vaping, smoking, drinking, drugs. So but anyways, I didn't really have a problem with his gender, oh, he's a man, he's a man. I didn't really realize that, but for me personally, I just, the father part kind of got me because of my own father, and just kind of how my dad wasn't a good dad, so just kind of seeing him as that, or just thinking that he's gonna let me down like he did, all these things, self-projecting to my own self. What is it called? Self-projecting, projection. My bad. Projection. I was projecting a bunch of things to God because of my own father and certain things he did, and subconsciously, consciously, I just projecting a lot. Which the other one is, I think is, I don't think that's a little, anyways, maybe that's something else. But just self projection, where I was just a lot of things I had, and whether knowingly or unknowingly, feel oh, he gonna let me down, my dad let me down, and not really. I think some of it was subconscious, and then sometimes I did catch myself oh shoot, that's not him, it's difficult because he references him a lot as a father, and like my own father was like, yeah. So I was just like, is he gonna let me down like he is, and a bunch of things, and just struggling to trust him because of that. And yeah, so that's how it looked for me. It might look for someone else, because I know women, they have like that hate for men, that disdain for men, and they need to work on that, because it's not okay for men to be misogynistic and view women as objects. Same thing with women. You need to deal with that. You need to deal with that. There's no excuse. You need to deal with that. You need to ask God for help, and you ask Jesus for help. You need to do something about it. I can't tell you exactly what you need to do. I think you need to ask for God and seek counsel to God about that, and ask him what you need to do. So I'm not gonna give you advice, because I don't honestly know. Everyone's situation is different. But I just don't tolerate that, because I know some women want to talk so much about men, but they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror, and certain things they need to work on. So yeah, and same for men. They just understand certain things they need to work on, and stop blaming women. And if it was someone else's fault, like sometimes we can't just blame the finger. Sometimes also things we also did or participated, or things you settled for, things that you didn't make it clear, or you should have walked away and you didn't. So yeah, both men and women. Honestly, that goes for both men and women. So yeah, because there is times where I definitely didn't walk away when I needed to, and I just can't be acting like a victim, because I'm not. I just I don't know. But I think this is it for this video. I think I said everything I need to say.